Our next speaker is Jerry Blassingame, who is the Executive Director of Soteria CPC. And with that, I'm going to introduce Jerry, who has come all the way from Greenville, South Carolina.
Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. I am so excited to be here, and I thank Nick for coming home, and all of you. Thank y'all for coming out. This is great when we come out not only to learn, but just to be a part of the community. So, as Jesse said, I'm Jerry Blassingame. I traveled all the way from Greenville, South Carolina, where I was born and raised. I started Soteria back about 19 years ago. And founded, executive director, been doing it, that's all I've done. And I guess you wonder, well, Jerry, why would you run an organization that would help men and women that's getting out of prison? Well, I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story before I get into my presentation. I think it's always good to know who's speaking before you. So in 1973, when I was 5 years old, I heard some arguing in the next bedroom, my mother's bedroom, and there was a guy in the bedroom with her, and I stuck my eye to the keyhole, and I heard the guy say, "You better move before you see something you don't want to see." And before I could turn and get back in the living room with my grandparents, I heard 2 shots, pow, pow. Guess what happened? My mother was murdered. And so I spent my childhood not even knowing that I was dealing with a mental illness, but I spent my whole childhood suffering PTSD, and no one ever diagnosed me. No one ever said, "Jerry, let's sit down and talk about you all witnessing your mother being murdered," or let's talk through this. Nobody ever talked through this. I kind of dealt with it myself. I dealt with it through isolation. I dealt with it at 9 years old in indulging in pornography. I dealt with it through just engulfing myself in education in school and being a loner and sticking my nose in books. My high school shop teacher really took a liking to me. I was very good at woodworking. And he convinced me to go in high school. He convinced me to take mechanical drawing classes. And so in 11th grade, I did mechanical drawing. In 12th grade, I got into architectural engineering, and I got a 2-year full scholarship into architectural engineering. But I found out while I was in college that I could make more money as a drug dealer than being an architect. So I dropped out of college my 2nd year and started dealing and selling drugs for about 8 years. The first time I got arrested, I got 15 years suspended to 9 months, 5 years probation. I did 4 months in the penitentiary in the state of South Carolina. The state of South Carolina, they called me Jerry Blassingame. They called me 1981-53. So when I got out, it was hard for me to get a job and try to go back to school, and that didn't work. And 6 months later, I was back in the Greenville County Detention Center. This time I was facing 20 years for distribution of cocaine, transportation of cocaine, trafficking of cocaine, possession with intent to distribute marijuana, possession with intent to distribute cocaine, possession with intent to distribute crack cocaine. Wow. I was out on bond for 18 months. They revoked my bond, and here I am in Greenville County Detention Center, a 27-year-old black male who hated God, never met my father, and never got an opportunity to sit down with my mother. My mother never came to PTA meetings. And I'm sitting in the Greenville County Detention Center hating God and hating life, and my oldest sister, who was a recovering heroin addict back then, came to Christ. And I'll never forget one time I was on the block selling drugs. I had 2 pockets full of money and 2 pockets full of dope. And she came at me and she looked at me and she stuck her hand in my face and she said, "Jerry, what are you doing out here selling drugs? You're supposed to be an architect. Our mother would not be proud of you. You have a call in your life. You're going to be a preacher one day." She wagged her finger at my face. I'm sitting in the Greenville County Detention Center thinking about this, and she would say, call me if you ever want to talk. So I called her, and she said, "Jerry, you need to give your life to Jesus." I hate Jesus. I don't want Jesus. One day I was sitting in the detention center, and I heard this guy coming down the hallway. "Anybody want to talk to a preacher?" Anybody want to talk to a preacher? And it sounded like it got louder and louder. And before I could realize it, I was kneeling down on one knee, looking out the bean hole in a Methodist preacher's blue eyes. And I asked him if I could have a Bible. He said, you know, I'm a Gideon, and if you let me share the gospel with you, I'll give you a Bible. It's like, all right. I'm thinking, well, I'll get this Bible, I'll read it, I'll rub it a little while, and Jesus will let me back out on the street, and I'll go back and sell some more drugs. That was my thinking. God is not smarter than me, I'm smarter than God. So I said the sinner's prayer, and I got that Bible, and I began to read that Bible, and that Bible changed my life. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting at a Bible study in the cell with some guys, and we had just finished reading the book of John. And I'm like, I threw the Bible, I'm like, man, this Bible is stupid. We just read the feeding on the 5,000 yesterday in Matthew, now we're reading again in John. I'm like, it's crazy. And I heard somebody say, you know, that's what they call the synoptic gospels. You know, all of these disciples, they shared the gospels from their own point of view. I looked around, and this tall black guy was talking to me. He sat me down, and he just began to minister to me. He stayed in our cell for about 10 days and took me through the Beatitudes and wrote down some scriptures, and he was gone. He left. Found out later that he was a preacher that had got locked up for contempt of court and child support court and family court. He went to court with one of his parishioners, and the judge told him if he said another word, they were going to lock him up, and he said, Your Honor, and the judge said, lock him up. He got locked up just for me. So I ended up going to the penitentiary. I got sentenced in 1995 to 20 years. And when I plea bargained, my attorney said I had a public defender that spent all my money. My public defender said, Jerry, you'll probably do 9 or 10, 11 years, 55%, you'll be out, before you're 40. And so I said, all right, that's the best you can do, this is fine. But y'all, when I was 19 years old in college, I would come home and I had other guys selling drugs for me. And people would drop $10,000 on my bed. This is your profit, Jerry, from the day. And I wasn't even selling drugs. I had other people selling drugs for me. That's what some of us went through and some people are going through now, contending with this cash tax-free money. So that was my decision. So fast forward, I'm in the penitentiary. I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm seeing that God is real. And I get involved in prison fellowship ministry. I get involved with Kairos prison ministry. And every day my confession was, I am not going to be here long. And for 3.5 years, I stuck my nose in the Bible. And one day I got a letter from the parole board. And when I went to parole board, in 3.5 years I was released. So I was released in 1999. 3.5 years every day, 6 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 in the morning, I was up praying and journaling and writing and reading my Bible. Amen. Everything I'm about to show you was written while I was in prison. The whole plan was written. I stumbled across a Bible that says, write the vision down and make it plain so that those who read it may run with you. Amen. And so that's what I did every day for 3.5 years. I prayed, I wrote. I prayed and I wrote. So in South Carolina, we have a real big problem. We have a real big problem in our nation. So what do? We create jobs and opportunities for people with a criminal background. Mass incarceration is a human rights issue impacting over 2.3 million adults and families and victims. Right now in the United States, there are 2.3 million people locked up in our jails and prisons. 1 in 6 white Americans have convictions, white males. 1 in 36 Hispanic males, and 1 in 16 black males. Over 70 people have convictions. The likelihood of a male born after 2001 in the United States that will go into prison, 1 in 17 white males, 1 in 6 Hispanic males, and 1 in 3 black males. There are 48,000 laws and statutes, often called collateral consequences, that continue to punish people even after their sentence is over. Y'all, these are the realities of reentry. fines and fees, lack of transportation, homelessness, no positive support network, minimal job opportunities, occupational licenses. When I got out of prison in 1999, I decided I was going to go back to college and finish my degree in architecture. They told me, Jerry, you can't get your Pell Grant because you got a drug conviction. And so I got loans, and I got money, I got people to pay for me to go back to school, and got, in school, and I was doing an internship with a civil engineer, and found out that I couldn't get licensed as an architect in the state of South Carolina because of my felony conviction. So you know what, I'll just create a job. So I started my nonprofit, and here I am.
Amen.
Over 60% of people remain unemployed a year after their release. Y'all, that's criminal. So I did a little research in this state. Last year, y'all spent $22,000 to incarcerate a person for 1 year. The average stay is 5 years. You guys spent $110,000 to keep somebody locked up when they need to be in college. 15,000 people in 19 facilities were locked up last year, and that's not including county jails and some of the private institutions and things that the state of Arkansas. And so it says 346 million, but I'm thinking about $500 million is probably what you guys are thinking after it's all said and done. Is spent to incarcerate people in y'all state. We need to do better.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about people first language. Language is so important. And I use the language sometimes. I'm trying to change the way I talk, but those of us who have been incarcerated, there's a movement started that we want to be humans. We don't want to be ex-felons. We don't want to be convicts. We don't want to be inmates, or prisoners, or cons, or ex-offenders, or felons, or life. We don't want to be that. We're humans. We're fathers. We're daddies. We're husbands. We're neighbors. Humanizing words are like formerly incarcerated person, or person with a criminal record, or returning citizen, or returning neighbor. These are things that I'm asking as we get into this to start using humanizing language that would really help people to feel like they're a part of the society. Even those of us who are in the field, I tell our program manager all the time that we need to change the way we talk to guys and about guys, and even in the community. So it would really be helpful if we just begin to change the language and some of the ways that we talk about people with criminal convictions. So the solution, we have a community development corporation. If you look at impacted communities, that black line is barriers. Every time you turn around, people are hitting brick walls. But one thing I found out over 19 years ago was community and economic development was a way to break through the barrier into a thriving community. Listen to this. So what is community and economic development? The purpose is to eliminate impacts of cultural, social, economic, and racial isolation. There are 8 puzzle pieces when it comes to community and economic development. Housing, public spaces, community pride, political advocacy, job creation, public services, business development, and job training. Back when I got out after a couple of years, I started building houses and rehabbing houses and just doing all kind of entrepreneur things because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I sold dope for over 10 years. And so I understood the packaging of material, the marketing of material, getting the material from one side of town to the other side of town. I had 10 guys working for me. I was an employer. And so a guy told me, he was like, Jerry, you're doing community and economic development. I'm like, what? And he showed me this. I never knew because back in 1999, re-entry wasn't even a word. People wasn't talking about transitional houses, it was halfway houses and flop houses. And so this guy sat me down and he mentored me. He showed me that I was a person. He showed me that God had created me to be. And he told me, this is what he told me. He said, you're an asset to our state. He didn't say you're an asset to your city or you're an asset to your county. He said, you're an asset to our state. And that encouraged me. And when I found out that I could use the resources of community and economic development to fuel re-entry, nobody had ever did that before. People thought I was crazy. That I was using rental property and HUD money and state housing dollars to fund reentry and fixing up old dilapidated rental properties and flipping them and having the guys that are getting out of prison to help me fix up the properties.
Amen. Amen.
So some of the things we did, we have a deconstruction company called Soteria at work. We turn out old houses, we reclaim furniture, and we build reclaimed wood furniture from that. We have a real estate development company. We operate low to moderate income housing, new and home development. We build houses, we rehab them in old. We have old build town. Relapse prevention counseling we offer in our program. We help guys with continuing education, GED, and technical training. We partner with our local technical college. We have a robust mentoring program. Every person in our program is paired with a mentor from a local church or business. Every Saturday morning, the guys in financial literacy and budgeting class, which they're probably doing right now. And we also mobilize previously incarcerated people to advocate for themselves. My good friend Glenn Martin, I always quote him when I get to this part of my presentation, because what he says is those who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution, but we're furthest from the resources and the power.
Yes.
So my job is to train previously incarcerated individuals to be leaders.
Amen.
That's what we're trying to do. And I just want to tell you this, as you get people in your program, train them, teach them, and release them. And we can't do it for them. Don't do it for me, do it with me. So making a difference in our community. So we believe in safe, quality, transitional housing, mentoring, job placement, and life skills. Those are some of the keys to reentry. These are some of the pictures of our place. We have a 16-bed facility in our town where we bring guys in. We work with 16 guys at a time. We have a 6-month graduation and a 12-month graduation. And I found out years ago, I had 30-something guys in my program and it almost killed me. I didn't have the capacity to deal with these guys. We were running guys through like cattle, and it was not helping them. But now that we work with a few guys at a time, when the guys leave, they're ready. Most of the guys that leave our place, they either can purchase a home or they have enough money for a down payment and deposit to rent a home.
Amen.
2 guys who just graduated 2 months ago and getting ready to go into 6 months have already purchased a car and they're saving money for furniture and independent living. That's what we do. We make sure that guys, when they leave, that they're not homeless again. And so we, as I mentioned, we have a 16-bed transitional housing facility, 14 low-income rental properties. We have 5 vacant lots for future development. In 2008, we built 6 brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath, energy-efficient rental properties for low-income families in our community. And we built those so that some of the guys who were getting out of our transitional house could move right into a place that they can afford. We won an award from our city called the Max Heller Neighborhood Improvement Award, and we just won a HUD award in San Francisco last month for the whole housing authority of the whole nation for reentry housing. We just partnered with the Greenville Housing Authority to do reentry housing, and we got vouchers for guys when they get out of prison. We were one of the first reentry organizations. So requirements as a resident, regular meetings with appointed mentor, attend a weekly church service, financial budgeting and planning, attend daily devotion and journaling, and I cannot tell you how important journaling is. Maintain employment and education, attain proper IDs and driver's license. I don't know about this state, but one of the hardest things to do when a guy gets out if you don't have a birth certificate, a social security card, is to get one. It takes an ID to get a social security card, it takes a social security card to get an ID. I can't figure that one out yet. So graduation. When a person graduates from our program, we help them with permanent housing. We do a housewarming party. We help them purchase furniture and household supplies. That's part of our deal for guys staying at 1 year and graduating. So keys to reentry, a pre-release plan. We work with guys before they get out. They have to have community support, employment, and of course, safe housing. It's very important that men and women have safe housing, when they get out. So this is a Van Street project that we did in 2008. We were donating some property, and we worked with another nonprofit, and we partnered. And let me show you here. And the picture up above is the way the property looked when we bought it. It was worse than that. We picked up 16 bags of crack pipes, needles, beer bottles, all kinds of stuff. So the street was not that clean. Excuse me. But look at the bottom picture. That's the after picture. That is the street that we won an award for. It was green, Energy Star rated. The power bills were like $50 a month. And you're talking people, when they were living in that top picture, they were paying $300 and $400 a month for the electric bill because the houses were not insulated. And so this is what we did with the help of men and women who were getting out of prison to build this neighborhood. Amen. Here's another neighborhood that we did called Miller Street. It's also 6 two-bedroom apartments. You look at the top picture, it was a boarded up crack house, shoot gallery, homeless people were living in it. And we tore it all apart, we rehabbed it, we used composite decking on the front porch and the back porch. Those things will last forever. It was a little more expensive on the front end, but we have less maintenance on those houses now. Look at before and after. We went in and we tore everything down and we went back and we made it a nice, clean, affordable place where people can live. This is what people can do when they have Jesus in their hearts. And they have the support of the community. So there's the before and after, and you know, if you look at the left picture and the right picture, it's like night and day. So it's a bright spot in the community. All of our houses are the nicest houses on the street in our city. People know that it's Soteria when they see it because we take pride in keeping the grass cut and keeping the inside of the houses clean and things like that. So, recycling. About 9 years ago, we started a recycling business. And it was for neighborhood beautification, recycling, pick up recycling from apartments in the city of Greenville. We had a 5-year contract with the school district of Greenville County. We become environmentally friendly, create jobs for our interns and revenue from recycling that goes back to our Community Development Corporation. So how did I get into recycling? Somebody sent me an email about a program in Chicago called the CARA program, Clean Slate. And I got to work and got a phone call. And I'm like, I don't even recycle at home, why should we recycle? So I was in Chicago for 3 days and got trained and came back to Greenville. And I told my board, I said, we need to start recycling and we need to tap into this green industry for the people that are getting out of prison. So we tapped into green and we did it up until 2013. And in 2013, we switched over to our reclaimed wood business. But back then, we created 12 jobs for our interns, and we don't call people formerly, ex-cons or residents. We say you're doing a 6-month or 12-month internship with us. And so we call all of our residents interns. So it was an opportunity to learn and apply new skills. People learned about PET plastic, number 1, number 2, number 3 plastic, different type of papers, and so it was a training, and we made a difference in our communities. We put our uniforms on, and we went around to all the school districts. They loved us. I got a call from the superintendent of the school district, and he said, thank you so much. We've had all types of people on here doing business with us. We've never had a problem out of your company. We know where you guys come from, and by the way, you saved us $150,000 a year the last 2 years. So we got a $10,000 grant to start the social enterprise, and we use the sale of the recyclable materials to come back to us. We had contract with local businesses, and we also did consulting, teaching other nonprofits how to do recycling. And so I took a $10,000 grant and built the business with it. How did I know how to do that? Well, when I used to get up in the morning, I was going to take a $20, go buy a crack, cut it in half, and I got 2 cracks. Now I got $40. I was going to take that and go sell it, and I got $80. And I learned that when I was a 19-year-old kid. So a lot of us from the street and with criminal mindsets, we have business sense. We just need people to love us and accept us as who we are. Amen. Amen. So in 2013, I got a call from the city of Greenville that said, we heard you stopped doing recycling, what are you doing now? And so she sent me an email from a company in Des Moines, Iowa. They were going into the prisons, having guys in the prisons tear down old houses and reclaim the lumber. So guess where I was in 3 days? I was in Des Moines, Iowa. I went there and I took a class on how to disassemble houses. And so we started our deconstruction business when I came back to Greenville. Deconstruction is the process of assembling buildings by hand. We take the floor joists, siding, fixtures, etc., and we take those apart by hand, and then we go back and we sell those products, on the open market. So this is our crew, tearing down the house by hand. This is the old mill house in a Justin community in Greenville. We have 5 or 6 guys on the crew, and they go in by hand and take things down. And if you see the picture in the middle is where the house looks, and on the left there is them taking it down. And when we leave, we plant grass. Nothing is left. And all the material either sold off the job site or we take it back to our warehouse. And we sell it from our warehouse and make stuff out of it. We take the chimney brick, we sell it for $1.50, $2. Some of the old posts and joists and things like that. And the things that we don't sell, we make products out of them. Old barn doors, tables. There we made a planter box for a restaurant. And we have a contract with a couple of restaurants in our town where we make tables for them, make desks for some offices, and fireplace around some of the nicest homes in Greenville. There's a couple of items that we made from reclaimed wood. So some of the guys that we deal with have never picked up a saw, don't know what a skill saw is, or they've never handled a sawzall. I had a 44-year-old man that came to our program, and he had no idea how to operate a drill. I popped the chalk line one day, and I said, I'll be back, I'll be gone in 5 minutes. And somehow the chalk line moved. And I told him to screw down on the line, and guess what he did? Screw down on the line. So when I came back, the screws were like that. And so that's some of the things, that we deal with. But I showed him how to use it, and 3 weeks later he called me happy because he got a job with a company putting together cubicles, and he was using a screw gun. He was so happy that he had to train him on how to make a drill. So we've created 60 jobs for formerly incarcerated men. We've diverted 31,000 board foot of lumber from a landfill. We reused or recycled 714 tons of brick and concrete. We've created $225,000 in revenue with our deconstruction company. So this is my family, my wife, my 3 younger kids. So I'm not an ex-felon, I'm not a con. I'm your neighbor, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a man. And so celebrations. I have some business cards and some brochures out in the lobby. I'll be here to answer questions. I know I kind of breezed through my PowerPoint because I like to try to stay on time. Nick told us to make sure we stay on time, so I'm trying to be obedient. But I'll be out to talk, and you go to our website. You can go to our Soteria at work, where we see all the furniture. We have a Pinterest page, and we have a Facebook also. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Jerry. What a great example of how one person's restoration can bring about restoration of so many others.